All right, so you're a basketball fan, huh? You picked a good night for it. Last night's NBA slate, 5 games. I mean, each one was crazier than the last. We're talking wild finishes, upsets that no one saw coming.
Yeah,
I'm still trying to catch my breath.
I hear that.
We're going to dive deep into all 5 games you sent over.
Okay.
But here's the thing. We're going to go way beyond just, the scores.
Right.
You already know who won, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What you need is the why, like the juicy details, the stuff that reveals what this league, what's it really about right now, right? What's going on?
It's like, the basketball gods just decided, hey, let's just give everyone a masterclass
Right.
in everything that the NBA has to offer all in one night.
Okay, first up, got to talk about the Clippers and the Jazz.
Oh, yeah.
Did anyone else, get whiplash from that comeback? Down 20 points at one point? You got to be kidding me.
You remember that 50-30 lead the Jazz had in the second quarter?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on. You almost thought the game was over. Like, did they think they had it in the bag already? Or did they find, a weakness and just exploit it? I don't know. But the Clippers' resilience was off the charts.
Off the charts.
Oh, totally.
And Norman Powell.
Oh, man.
Forget about Flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Someone get that man a statue. 41 points.
Wow.
His season high. It wasn't just a good game. It was like he was possessed or something.
No doubt. He carried them. But you know what's even more impressive is how the Clippers dealt with those early turnovers. They didn't panic, didn't deviate from the plan, almost like they outwilled the Jazz.
Like the Jazz's early dominance almost, backfired.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Maybe they got a little too comfortable.
Right.
And it's wild. Filipowski and Markkanen, they each put up 20 for the Jazz.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't enough. What does that tell you?
That tells you that the Clippers, they weren't letting anyone else beat them that night. Like, they shut down the other scoring options, they locked in on defense, and they rode Powell's hot hand all the way to a win.
All right, now the Mavericks and the Heat. This one was a nail-biter until the very end, but in a totally different way. Dante Exum outshining Tyler Hero.
Really?
Did not see that coming.
Harrow had an amazing game, don't get me wrong. 40 points is nothing to sneeze at,
I know.
But Exum's 27 points, they were part of a bigger picture. The Mavericks' balanced attack, every player contributed. They made smart plays and just capitalized on every opportunity. Textbook team win.
And the Timberwolves versus the Thunder.
Okay.
That final score, 116 to 101.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't scream close game. That screams Timberwolves domination.
And they earned every bit of it. Remember, at the Thunder, they're having a great season. So this was no easy feat. The Timberwolves were relentless. Their offense was clicking, and they were just too much for the Thunder to handle.
Edwards and Randall were huge, but it felt like the entire Timberwolves team was just in sync,
Absolutely. Their teamwork was like a thing of beauty, When a team is firing on all cylinders like that, offensively and defensively, they're tough to beat.
Okay, strap yourselves in because the Pelicans and the Kings, this one was a straight-up offensive explosion, 140 to 133. Was defense optional that night?
Defense might have taken a break, but C.J. McCollum sure didn't. 43 points, including 11 in overtime. He single-handedly willed the Pelicans to victory.
And you know what makes it even crazier? The Pelicans had lost 10 games straight.
Wow.
To snap that streak with such an offensive showcase, talk about a statement.
Right. I mean, that's the beauty of the NBA. Any team can turn it around on any given night. Levine and Sabonis, they put up a good fight for the Kings, but the Pelicans were just unstoppable.
Last but not least, the Warriors against the Rockets. It wasn't just a Warriors win. They had to hold off a serious Rockets comeback attempt.
The Rockets did go down without a fight, that's for sure. But the Warriors, even with all the changes, they've undergone, they still know how to close out a game. Experience is a valuable asset, and they used it to their advantage.
And, of course, it wouldn't be a Warriors win without, some Steph Curry magic. 27 points, including that game-sealing three-pointer.
Classic Steph.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground, but one thing is clear. Last night wasn't just about who won. It was about how they won. Underdog stories, clutch performances, and even in losses, we saw glimpses of what teams are truly capable of. But there's so much more to unpack here.
It's almost like last night was this, microcosm of what's happening in the league right now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We're not just seeing, star power, even though guys like McCollum and Powell, they definitely put on a show. But there were also those, strategic, team-oriented wins, like the Mavericks pulling it off. Makes you wonder, are the super teams, are they starting to lose their edge a little bit?
Right, maybe you don't need a LeBron or a KD.
Right.
To make, a deep playoff run anymore. Teamwork, strategy, that grit.
That grit.
It feels like those things are becoming just as important as just, raw talent.
It's too early to say for sure, but it's a fascinating trend to watch. And you think about those Clippers coming back from 20 points down against a strong team like the Jazz, That wasn't just luck, that was mental toughness, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They adapted their game plan on the fly. They didn't let the early setbacks rattle them, and they didn't rely on just one player to carry them. That's got to be inspiring for other teams.
It shows that with the right coaching and that never-give-up attitude, anything is possible. And speaking of unexpected heroes, how about Dante Exum for the Mavericks? Who could have predicted he'd be, like, the key to their win?
Oh, I know. Harrow put up 40 points.
I know.
And yet Exum kind of stole the show by being the missing piece of their well-rounded attack.
Yeah,
I guess it goes to show you can't underestimate anyone in this league.
right.
And that's what makes it so exciting. Every player has the potential to make a difference.
Okay, so,
And let's talk about the Timberwolves for a second. They're not just winning, they're dominating.
yeah.
Are they becoming, like, the team to beat in the West?
Their offense it's a whirlwind, and their defense is no joke either.
Oh, no.
It's not just about outscoring their opponents, it's about shutting them down completely.
They've got this amazing mix of, like, young talent and veteran leadership, and they just seem to be getting better every game. They're definitely a team to watch. And the Pelicans, man, snapping that 10-game losing streak with a 140-point performance, talk about a resurgence.
McCollum was on another planet last night. But it wasn't just him. The whole team was feeding off his energy.
Totally.
That's what a true leader does, right? Elevates everyone around him.
It was like watching a completely different team out there, and even though the Kings had Levine and Sabonis putting up big numbers, they just couldn't keep up with that kind of offensive firepower.
And of course, we can't forget about the Warriors. They're in this interesting transition phase, bringing in new players like Butler while still relying on their core, but they're still winning, which says a lot about their adaptability.
They've got the experience, the championship pedigree. They know how to handle pressure and adapt to changes. Plus, with Curry still playing at like an MVP level,
Oh, yeah.
they're always a threat.
So looking at all these games, it feels like the margin for error in the NBA is shrinking.
Totally.
Every possession, every play matters more than ever.
You said it. Teams are playing with more intensity, making smarter decisions, and taking advantage of every opportunity. There's like no room for complacency anymore.
Which makes every game feel like a must-win, would you say?
Absolutely.
And that makes it even more exciting for us fans.
Oh, yeah.
But let's shift gears a bit. We've talked teams, but what about the standout individual performances? There were some serious ballers out there last night.
Oh, where do we even begin? I mean, Norman Powell's explosion for the Clippers, C.J. McCollum's masterclass, Steph Curry's clutch plays. It's hard to choose.
Powell's 41 points weren't just impressive. They were like a statement. He carried the Clippers on his back, hitting clutch shots and making plays all over the court. Like he suddenly decided, it's my time.
And McCollum, 43 points, effortless shooting, creating opportunities for his teammates, hitting those crucial free throws in overtime. I mean, it was a clinic in offensive basketball.
Oh, he was in the zone, totally unstoppable.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Steph, always delivering when it matters most. 27 points, including, that dagger three-pointer to seal the win for the Warriors. He never ceases to amaze me.
But let's not forget about the guys who do the dirty work.
Right.
The ones who don't always get the headlines, but are crucial to their team's success. Like Kyle Filipowski for the Jazz.
Exactly. He might not have filled the stat sheet, but he was battling for every rebound, making key defensive stops, doing all those, little things that win games.
Every team needs a player like that, someone who's willing to put in the work without needing the spotlight. And Domantas Sabonis for the Kings, another workhorse, he was a beast on the boards, battling against bigger opponents, and his passing was exceptional.
He's one of those players who might not be a household name, but he's a valuable asset to his team. It's a good reminder that basketball's a team sport. Everyone has a role to play, and those unsung heroes often make the biggest difference.
Couldn't agree more. It's easy to get caught up in the big scoring numbers, but sometimes it's those gritty, under the radar performances that swing the momentum of a game. It's about everyone contributing, working together, playing smart, and playing hard.
All right, so we've covered individual players, team performances, and the overall trends we're seeing in the NBA.
Totally.
But there's one huge thing we haven't talked about yet.
And what would that be?
We're only halfway through the season.
Oh, that's right. And that means we've got a whole lot of basketball left to enjoy.
So much can change between now and the playoffs.
Right.
With that in mind, what is some of the key storylines we should be keeping an eye on?
Well, for starters, can the Clippers keep up this momentum? Are they the real deal? Or was this just a flash in the pan?
They've got the talent, And if they stay healthy and keep playing with that same fire, they could be a serious contender.
Totally.
And what about the Pelicans?
Yeah.
Can they build on this big win and make a push for the playoffs?
With McCollum playing like this, anything is possible, but they'll need to find some consistency, especially on the defensive end.
And the Warriors, even with their new additions, are they still the team to beat in the West? Can Partner fully integrate into their system?
It'll be fascinating to see how they adapt and evolve as the season progresses.
And let's not forget about those under the radar teams like the Timberwolves and the Mavericks.
Right.
Could they be this year's dark horses?
They've both got the potential to make some noise in the playoffs, that's for sure. That's what's so great about the NBA, right? You never know what's going to happen next.
New contenders emerging, old rivalries reigniting, and the level of play is just incredible. It's a great time to be an NBA fan.
Absolutely. Buckle up because the second half of the season is going to be wild. But you know what?
Oh,
We've been so focused on the analysis, we haven't even touched on the human side of all this.
oh yeah, you're right. It's easy to get lost in the X's and O's, but at the end of the day, this is about people, about passion, dedication, and the sheer will to succeed. Think about Norman Powell last night. He's had, a solid career, but last night was different. You could see it in his eyes, that fire.
Yeah, he was determined to prove something to lead his team to victory.
It's a good reminder that these guys are more than just stats.
Right, they're human beings with dreams, frustrations, and a deep love for the game.
And you could feel that passion. It's contagious.
Totally.
Think about the energy in that arena when the Clippers started their comeback.
Oh man, the crowd was electric.
You could feel the belief surging through the building.
That's what makes sports so powerful, that shared experience, that collective hope.
It brings people together, creates memories, reminds us what the human spirit is capable of.
And it's not just about winning either.
Right.
Even in a loss, you see that resilience, the refusal to give up.
Like the Jazz last night.
Yeah, they fought hard until the very end.
It's about the effort, the commitment, the constant striving to improve.
Because in the end, it's not just about the final score.
No.
It's about the journey, the lessons learned, and the growth that comes from facing challenges.
Beautifully said.
Oh, wow.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's go beyond the numbers.
Okay.
Let's appreciate the heart, the dedication, the human element that makes basketball so much more than just a game.
I like that.
Let's celebrate the passion, the stories, the connections that make this sport so captivating.
Because those are the things that stay with us long after the final buzzer.
That's all for this deep dive.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the court and your hearts in the game.
524.